Over the years, I have referred to the Philippines as really being the Olympics of dating. Another way to look at it is that it is opposite land of all the experiences you've likely run into in your own home country in the West. In the West, men are usually chasing after a scarcity supply of decent, good women. And it puts women in the power position. And so men oftentimes end up jumping through hoops and going through the crap tests that women have just to even be a candidate on their dating roster. Well, in the Philippines, it's the exact opposite. In the Philippines, you as an expat are a hot commodity. There are very few of you in the Philippines, and Filipinas, for the most part, do want to have a relationship with an expat. So all the dynamics are reversed. It's not just a matter of 5 Filipinas to every guy. It's more like 100 Filipinas to every guy, maybe even higher. Now, because this kind of situation is something you maybe have never really dealt with in your entire life, unless you've just really been killing it back home, most guys come into the Philippines completely unprepared to have that much attention from so many beautiful, attractive young women. And their brain just falls out of their head, and next thing you know, they're doing a lot of stupid stuff. So what I'd like to do right now is cover the most basic and most important things you need to know as you enter the dating realm in the Philippines. There's a wide variety of stuff to cover, and I've covered a lot of it in over 1,500 videos, but what we're going to cover here is probably the most important. The first thing you need to keep in mind when you step off the plane and start going into the public areas, everywhere, that's the thing. You don't need the dating sites. You really don't. You don't need them before you come here, and you really don't even need them once you're here. You can step off the plane, get settled into your apartment, and if it's 10 or 11 a.m., you can walk out of your hotel, and there's no reason why you can't have a date set up within 2 or 3 hours at the most. Especially once you know what you're doing, you could literally walk out with nothing lined up and in less than an hour have a date set up for dinner. So the first thing that you really got to keep in mind is that rejection is not something you need to worry about in the Philippines. Now, I have talked to plenty of guys, sat across the table with them, and they are still so traumatized with fear over being rejected, approaching a woman because of years of enduring that back in the West, that they get to the Philippines and they're too afraid to try. I remember one guy I met with in Cebu, his buddy contacted me, who is a good close buddy of mine, and said, hey, my buddy's in Cebu, can you meet with him? He's really striking out there in the Philippines. So I did. I met with him for dinner. Now, this guy had already been in the Philippines for 2 weeks. And he was telling me as we sat down, well, guy, it's been 2 weeks and I haven't even been on one date and I only have 2 more weeks left and I don't know what I'm going to do. I thought it was really great here. So I asked him, how many women has he walked up to and started a conversation with? And what he told me for the next 5 minutes was all the reasons why he backed out at the last minute from approaching a Filipina for 2 weeks. He said, oh, this one looks like maybe she's too high maintenance. Oh, this one looks like she probably has a boyfriend. Oh, this one, she's really pretty. I doubt she would go out with me. So I looked at him and I asked him, I said, so how do you expect to go on a date with a Filipina if you don't walk up and start some conversation? So then he got a little more real and said, well, what if she tells me no or makes a scene there in public and I end up looking like an idiot? And I told him, you don't need to worry about that. In the last 11 years of living in the Philippines, I have asked out, I've lost count how many Filipinas I have gone out with. And out of all these women, only 3 times did it not lead to a date. One time I remember was at the mall, and it just happened to be that the store manager that I asked out, she was already married. So I was like, okay, no big deal. But 3 times. So I told him, well, that's the first thing I want to cover here. Don't worry about rejection. And I have so many guys say, oh, but what do I say? What do I do? Is there like a series of lines I can give? I told him no. Don't have anything pre-planned. Don't have a script. Don't have lines. Don't get yourself into some kind of weird, amped up personality. You don't need that in the Philippines. Just be honest and sincere. Walk up. If you see a Filipina, you find her attractive, walk up to her and just say hi. Now, at the very minimum, she's going to turn around and say hi. And then just make something up. It doesn't even matter because she's already predisposed that she's flattered that a foreigner has walked up and noticed her, considered her pretty enough that you would walk up and say hi to her. Now, this is especially easy when you're in the mall. You go in a department store. The department stores are literally filled. You can't go 15, 20 feet without running into some sales girl that's stocking towels or something. For instance, when I was in Bohol years ago, I was fresh. I was new to the Philippines. I went into a mall department store, approached one of the girls working there, and I said, could you show me where the area is that I could buy some cologne? Now, I could have done that on my own, but I wanted to talk to her. I wanted to go out with her. She said, oh, yes, sir. Here, let me show you. And as we started walking, not only did I end up getting her number, I am not kidding. In the time it took us to walk partway across the department store to get to where they had all the colognes and perfumes, 3 more store clerk girls tagged along. I now had 4 Filipinas to pick from without even me doing anything. They just saw that she was leading me somewhere and they decided to tag along. And I had all 4 of them right there in front of me. Now, as a side note, stick to the one you first spoke with. If you hop over to the other one, you're going to create resentment with the first one. So I just stuck with the one that I first approached. Now, in the time that it took us to walk to the area where the colognes were, she started asking me questions. She said, oh, are you also looking for a perfume for your wife? Now, she gets to tell herself that she's just being a good store employee trying to do a sale, but really what she wanted to know was whether or not I even had a wife. Believe me, this is how things work in the Philippines. So when I told her, no, I just need cologne for me, I don't have a wife. Now, she was already smiling, but now she had an even bigger smile on her face. So my point is, don't worry about rejection. Don't worry about what you're going to say. Another time, I wanted to meet a girl that I saw working at the grocery store. I just walked up to her and asked her where the mayonnaise was. I knew where the mayonnaise was. Same routine. She said, oh, well, let me show you, sir. She stopped what she was doing. She walked me over there. And in that brief amount of time, it took maybe not even 2 minutes. And I said, well, I know you're working right now. I'd really like to talk to you more. You seem like a sweet person. Can I get your text number? That's what they kind of call it here. I said, can I get your text number? I said, I don't want to get you in trouble. I want to talk to you, but I don't get you in trouble here at work. And sure enough, she gave me her text number, and then we just started chatting that night and went out after that. So it doesn't matter what you're saying. Just have a conversation. Momentarily put the whole idea out of your head that you're going to go out with them. And just start a conversation. Doesn't matter about what. Because once you start chatting with them after they get off work at 9 o'clock, then you can kind of play and flirt and say, well, it's getting late. We should hang out sometime. Then you work out the details. Can I meet you after work tomorrow at 9 p.m.? Most of them get out of work at 9 p.m. Or if it's going to be the weekend, let's meet at such and such place for some lunch, my treat. And then you're off and running. Now, the second thing, which is tied in with the first thing, don't be afraid of rejection, is realize that you are in a land of abundance. There is a massive supply of Filipinas for you to go out with. Attractive ones, young ones, in their 30s, in their 40s, whatever you're looking for, there is a massive supply available to you. So if by some chance you walk up to a Filipina and you say, oh, can I get your text number, whatever, and if by some chance, which again, in like 11 years, I've had this only happen 3 times that they weren't available. But if by some chance she says, oh, sorry, sir, I already have boyfriend, or I'm already engaged, I usually just say, oh, okay, well, I guess I'm too late, but I wish you well, and then just move on. That's it. That's all it has to be. And you can walk away knowing that you probably won't even walk another 50 or 100 feet, and there's going to be another attractive Filipina for you to ask out. So get the whole scarcity mindset thing out of your brain when you're in the Philippines. There is always another Filipina. Now, I'll wrap up with this, which is, I'm telling you, this is tried and true. If you deviate from this, you're going to have problems. You're going to have drama. There is one rule for dating when you're looking for a relationship, and a different rule if you're dating just for the recreation and fun of it, what they call here a chick's boy. Now, if you're looking for a serious relationship, you go out there, you see someone you're interested in, you get their number, you start chatting, you start going out with them. Only date that one. Play it out. It may only take a week or two, and you might realize, oh, she has a bunch of kids, I'm not into that. Whatever the deal breaker is, it's only going to take you a week or two to figure that out, maybe less. Maybe even by the second date, you're going to realize, oh, okay, she's kind of pretty, but too much baggage, whatever. You move on. But only date the one at a time if you're looking for a relationship. If you date more than one at a time, when you say you're looking for a relationship, they are going to find out and you're going to lose both of them. So only date one at a time. If it takes 3 months and everything's going great, well, keep on going. But do not date them telling them you're serious and then try to sneak in another girl on the side. You are setting yourself up for disaster. Now, the rule is different if you're just dating recreationally. If you're just dating for the fun of it, you're going for quantity, not quality. You want to be a chick's boy. If you want to, within 1 week, you could have 20 women lined up to go out with. And I am not kidding. You can pick up 3-4 women a day just walking around town. That's not the hard part. The hard part is managing them. And the tried and true maximum number of women to juggle at one time is 3. Now, there are 7 days in a week. If you're seeing 3 women at the same time, you've got 2 days per week to keep them spread apart so that you're not dating more than one on the same day. But here's the problem. Even with only 3, all 3 of them are going to want to see you on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So every weekend, you have to be a bit creative in how you're going to tell the one, well, I'll meet you at 1 o'clock. And you know that she's going to want to come to your place, maybe even spend the night or stay until midnight. And then you've got the other one saying, well, I want to see you Saturday. Let's meet at 6 p.m. So you have to find creative ways to work out your time management, and that's with only 3. Do not make the mistake of thinking you can handle 4, 5, 6, 7 women. You're always going to end up pissing one of them off because you're going to constantly be telling them that you're basically double booked. No, you got to wait. They'll start finding someone else to go out with. So it's really unproductive to try and do that. So to quickly recap, number 1, don't worry about rejection. Just go out there and start a conversation. Number 2, the supply of Filipinas is off the charts. Attractive ones that you would want to go out with, even if they have a Filipino boyfriend. There's no point asking them if they have a boyfriend. I found this out. Because even if they do, they will immediately drop him for you. In their mind, the second you ask them out and they say yes, they just broke up with that Filipino boyfriend. They'll get around to telling him that later, but they will drop him like a bad habit to go out with you. So don't even bother asking. There's a huge supply of Filipinas. And if you're serious about a relationship, date one at a time. And if you want to be a chick's boy, do not date more than 3 simultaneously.